Welcome to Life's Questions, the podcast fueled by curiosity and wonder. I am your host, Charity Youngblood, and I am so grateful that you are here with me today. Let's get started with today's question. What are you missing? What are you missing? So it has been quite a journey to get to this point. The last podcast I recorded, the last episode that I recorded, I don't even know if I was coming back. I'm gonna just be honest. It was entitled, Do You Need to Take a Break or Quit? And I have had this podcast for about 3 years, maybe a little more, a little less. And I don't know what it was. I think I was ready to quit, but as I know myself, whenever I want to quit something, I decide to take a break first and just see if I miss it, basically. And I needed that time, and I definitely will have some episodes that talk about a lot of the insights that came through from those 6 to 8 months, however long it's been. Because one thing that happens when you kind of take something off your plate, you realize how much time you now have to do other things, or in my case, not do other things. So I decided I wanted to work less. Like I was putting a lot of my just free thinking time, free creative time, into the podcast and episodes and such. So anyways, we'll get to that later. But for me, it was super, super important that when I did decide to come back, I talked about what specifically brought me back. And it was this question: what are you missing? And the way that I actually looked at this question is not the way that our brains kind of automatically look for like what we don't have. What I mean with this question is like, kind of, what are you misinterpreting? So for example, when I first started the podcast, I was definitely doing it as a service, as something that was really, really fun. But it weighed more heavy on making sure that you as the listener got something from my words, right? I really, really believe that we are here on this planet to help people. And so I live and breathe, those values along with, all my other values. But I don't feel like I was getting anything out of it. And so when I asked myself, well, hold on a second, what are you missing? Like, is there something that you're not really acknowledging that the podcast is doing for you? And it was that the insight really came through that this is a platform that I actually get to speak to you as a listener and have you listen to my words. And sometimes I actually do have listeners reach out, I'm very grateful for that, and say how my words have impacted you. But having the space to just share something that I'm struggling with or something that I've learned and it helping you is what I was missing in the whole, grand scheme of things. So as you're kind of exploring this question in whatever way works best for you, you definitely can look at it in one of two ways. So what are you missing? Literally, like is there something in a particular area of your life that you feel like is missing? So what is that? And then maybe the second question would be, what is a very small action you can take towards kind of filling that hole of whatever it is that's missing? Or you can look at the question in how I kind of looked at it. And it's more, in that case, a shift in your perspective. Like if a particular thing happened to you, or if you're working on a particular project and it's just not fulfilling you in the ways that it used to, or maybe you're extra salty if you're looking at this in a scenario-based situation. You were extra salty because somebody said something crazy. And it's like, well, hold on a second. What am I missing? Was that person really trying to hurt my feelings? Am I overreacting? Did I get enough sleep? So it's kind of, one of those two ways. And the insights that come from that question alone, I really, really hope will kind of help you in this next step along your journey. But that's what I had on my heart today. As always, please rate and review this podcast wherever you are listening to my words. And if this episode was helpful to you, please share it. And until next time, take care.